These are the gold foiled edition Innocence playing cards by Daniel Snyder and Black Rose's playing cards that literally change from black and white to gold just by tilting the box. This deck of playing cards is currently on Kickstarter. It only has 6 days left and it fully funded day 1. Now if you're wondering how it was done where it can go from black and white to gold, they use a golden cold foil and there was 2,500 decks printed. Both long edges are going to be blank, as you can see. The back is going to be very similar to the back design, and just like the front of the tug box, it goes from the black and white to the gold. The bottom of the deck just says Innocence playing cards, and you're also going to get a custom tuck seal. You get a little bit more design work on the large inner tuck flap, and you also get a golden paper inner tuck, and that's the entire inside of this tuck box. Your gold foil edition Innocence playing cards back design is going to be the same as the tuck box because as you tilt it, it goes from black and white to gold, and that's absolutely incredible. When it comes to your number cards, they are going to be standard all the way through. What you expect from your number cards, you get from your number cards. Your blacks are black, your reds are red, your pips and indices are still all standard placement, standard shapes. Everything for a perfect classic look. Same goes for your 3 aces. When it comes to the court cards, Daniel Snyder redesigns all of them, so if you actually take a look at this deck of cards and the court cards versus the line work on a bicycle deck of cards, the line work on this is so much cleaner. You'll also see that all of the color has been stripped away, excluding just the black, white, and gold. That of course is going to exclude your red cards because your pips, indices, and values are going to stay red. For the King of Diamonds, you get Daniel Snyder's face on the card, and of course he has selectively chosen where to put some of the gold still back in the cards, that way you still get the consistency through the rest of this deck. The Queen of Clubs is going to be holding a butterfly knife, and then you get the rest of your cards, and the line work, as I said, was impeccable because if you look at this Queen of Hearts, you'll see that there's this white band that goes on this side and on this side. And on a regular deck of cards, if you go and grab your Queen of Hearts, you'll see that there's a small triangle on the one and not on the other, which of course Daniel Snyder has removed to make it consistent for the rest of the deck, which I am so grateful for because in a regular deck of cards, this one drives me crazy. But luckily, he fixed it. For your first ad card, you're going to get a double backer, and for your second ad card, a duplicate 8 of spades. When it comes to your jokers, you're going to have a girl bending down holding a sword, and then for your second joker, you're going to have the same girl holding the same sword, except for this time the sword is going through an ace of hearts, so you can have a card reveal for your magic tricks. And last but not least, when it comes to the design aspect, your gold foil edition Innocence playing cards, Ace of Spades. You don't only want to see how this deck looks, you also want to see how this deck is going to handle. So we'll do a Faro shuffle from bottom to top, and it is a literal perfect Faro from bottom to top. No issues with that whatsoever. That was absolutely one of the easiest decks I've ever Faro shuffled in my entire life, and I've done over 200 deck reviews on this channel. So we can also check to see if it Faros differently from top to bottom, and once again, a literal perfect Faro, no issues with this whatsoever. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was surprised with that one because this deck was not printed by the United States Playing Cards Company, which is the same place where Bicycle gets theirs done. This was printed by WJPC. So the normal ways that I would describe a deck of cards is going to be a little different in this review. So first of all, when it comes to the finish, which is the coating that goes on the cards to make sure that they can spread well and fan well, that way they don't get all clumped up. Now when it comes to the finish, stock, and feel of the deck of playing cards, the finish is the coating that goes on the cards, that way they don't get all clumpy and can spread well. That is what that is. And then of course the stock is the actual paper that they used. And this was done on the linen finish 300 GSM German Platt core paper. And pretty much let me explain that to you. So when it comes to the finish, this is going to spread beautifully. No issues with clumping whatsoever. It does it so beautifully that you can see almost every single card individually on this fan. So clearly there's no issues with the finish. When it comes to the stock of the cards, they are going to be a little bit thicker than a normal deck of playing cards when you come to like a bicycle deck or something. And then when it comes to the feel of this deck of playing cards, there's buttery decks which are more malleable, which would be used for something like under pressure like this. Of course, malleability is going to play a big role in that move, and same with the card spring, which looks like this. Both of those are going to require more malleability. The other one would be a more snappy deck, or decks that have less malleability, which would be moves like ATM like that, or Backdrop, which looks like this. These are moves that require less malleability. Now this one clearly does work for both. There was no issue with either of those. But if I had to lean one way, I lean a little bit more toward snappy. But if you're worried that any type of move isn't going to work with this deck, it's a really good middle ground. I just had to lean one way or the other. But I will tell you that there's some other things that you could get with this deck of cards. For instance, there's a collector's box if you get 4 of them. Now this isn't Daniel Snyder's first time doing something like this. With the Black Rose's Altroza playing cards, I actually got the collector's box. He actually signed it as well. And then you actually get 4 decks of cards inside of this massive tuck box. So that is the collector's box, and you can get that as an add-on. Another add-on that you can get is a gilded variation, and there's two different kinds. First of which is the golden gilded variation, which is only limited to 100 decks instead of the 2,500 decks of these, and it has a numbered seal. If you don't know what gilding is, it's actually this coating that goes on the outsides of the cards, that way it's not just on the faces and the backs, but it's also on the sides. Now in this case, his is going to be gold and not green. And the seal will be numbered 1 through 100, so you'll know which of the 100 decks that you have. There's also a second variation to this where you can get a gilded holographic version where the outside isn't gilded in gold, but it's a holographic gilding. This one's also an add-on, and instead of 100, this one has 200. I'd love to tell you that that's all there is, but there's more. Another add-on is the legacy playing cards. This is a deck of playing cards that we call in the playing cards industry a Franken deck, because this deck of playing cards isn't like this where each back design is going to be the same. In this deck of playing cards, every card that you're going to look at is going to have a different back design. There will be 52 different back designs. Daniel Snyder over the years has clearly designed a lot of decks, and all of these are Daniel Snyder's designs, and some of them will also be sold out to Orbit decks, like Orbit V4 and many others. Oddly enough, that is not it. Another one is the red version of the MXS Casino playing cards. I of course have the blue version, and this is a fully marked deck. So you can just look at this back design and know what every single face card is without looking at the faces. So for us magicians, it gives us a massive advantage. Now I will tell you, for the red version, there's only 1,000 of them, and there's a numbered seal. And similar to the Altroza playing cards, there's a collector's box with a numbered seal, and there's only 100 of those. Okay, I'm almost done. I've only got 3 things left, and they're really short. First is a Black Roses fridge magnet that just has the Black Roses rose. Secondly, as an add-on, you can get a Black Roses mystery deck. And third is a half brick bundle. So you saw the collector's boxes could fit 4. This one is going to fit 6. It's going to be a completely customized box. There's going to be 6 decks of cards that fit inside of it, and you'll actually get a 7th one on the house, which is a private reserve Remedies deck. These are the Remedies playing cards by both Daniel Madison and Daniel Snyder, and I have already done a full review on this deck of cards. So if you want to see the review for this deck, you can click right here. But of course, what you're here for isn't this deck of playing cards, although Remedies are nice. What you're here for are these. So if you want to pick them up for yourself, you can click right there. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to make sure that I see what those Remedy playing cards are first before I go and get that half brick bundle, then, well, I understand what you're thinking, and you can go and check out that review right here. All this will be fulfilled by Murphy's Magic, who is absolutely incredible with their fulfillment process, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews just like this. I'll catch you guys in the next video. This is CPM, signing off.